stop talking. We are here at the 2018 CultureCon. Get ready, y'all. We are here at the 2018 CultureCon. This is my first time, y'all, so I'm kind of excited. It's still pretty early, but you know, it's kind of cute.
You just gonna let a nigga know I'm fucking with them Berkeys, I ain't on that dro. Just let a nigga know I get you what you want. I will. You say that you will, but I know you won't. You ever been around a real nigga? Real nigga. Yeah. You ever been around a nigga that'll deal with you? Deal with you. Young nigga.
That's active in real life, off our phones, and really active on the ground, you know, on the earth, you know, our hands dirty.
Great morning. My name is Sharifa Murdoch. My purpose is to move the youth culture, to move the next generation beyond to where they need to go to find their future dreams and their future passions.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tyla-Lauren, and my purpose is to help women stay comfortable and be comfortable with who they are and embrace their natural bodies and their beauty and who they are.
My name is Anytime Burial II, and I play with words, and my purpose is to allow people to see what I see things from my perspective.
And if you haven't met me, my name is Natasha Alford. I am the People's Journalist. I'm also deputy editor of thegrio.com.
Feel by your words. Right. You know, when I learned that I was on this panel and the people I was with, it's the first thing I did was research everyone. I went online and bought like 5 of his books because I wanted to give it to him. Seriously. Because we have to learn to support each other through anything. And we have to start supporting each other. Not just anyone. We have to support everyone. Any person that comes up to me, wants me to mentor them, want me to speak to them, that's what my new company is about. Envision is about that. It's about mentoring young girls, mentoring people that need help figuring out what their destination was. It was important for me to try to support someone on this panel because he has a new book out and I purchased them for my girlfriends. I thought it was something that we need to do.
I would take my hour and I would literally do 3 outfits just to get some content up. And my content is so important to me and I'm like crazy anal. So I was like, I need to be posting 3 times a day. I need everyone to see me. I'm like, I want to be constantly on their timeline. I want people to know that like I'm going to be here and I'm going to stay here like permanently. So it was all about balance, literally. All about balance.
God's record for me is impeccable. He's never failed me. So I always rely on that. Like, all this time I've never been failed. What am I afraid of?
Right.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. You know, you bring up a really great point. So sometimes I feel like success can actually be a curse sometimes too, right? Because once you've had a certain level of success and it's public, you're afraid that if you take another step and it doesn't go so well, it's actually gonna hurt a lot more. People are watching.
Right.
So my question for the panel is, what do you do when you're trying to level up? When you're at that Oprah level and you got all those Emmys, but you want to go create own and it's not going so well, how do you push through that chapter? And Sharifa, we were talking about that because you've had so much success in the fashion industry and you wanted to level up. Yeah. What's your advice for folks in the audience?
Train yourself to know, believe what you believe in. Believe that you know that what you're trying to do is pure, and I think it's just gonna happen naturally. You can't doubt yourself, because every time you doubt yourself, you're pushing yourself down.
So I'm like, yo, there are only more white people because you killed half the people and enslaved the other half. And he's like, and I'm like, yeah, you know, but I'm mindful about like part of what it means to have the platform is to take the truth with us everywhere. And I'm mindful too that I'm not the only one who can carry the truth. And the other part of the commitment is to make sure we keep the door open. So with President Obama, with Hillary, with Bernie, all those people, like we got into the room because of our platforms and our work, but we also tried to make sure that we brought a lot of people in the room too. Right. So that we never thought that we were the only people who could carry the truth.
Black women specifically, I mean,
I have made my career built on the backs of Black women and their support, right? Julie was the first person to greet me in the office when I started at Black Voices at HuffPost years ago. Like the biggest, loudest scream, gave me the biggest hug, and like that support carried me through all the time that she was
you
there.
magic.
Girl, the support is so real.
Different platforms. You can have your own podcast, you can have an internet show, there's satellite radio, there's iHeart. And at the same time, because there's so many platforms, it can get really just too much. How do we separate what's great from what's not great? How do you get heard? How do you put yourself out there? Fortunately, there are so many different ways for you to promote yourself without having to spend money. But that does mean that you have to be very persistent and consistent. So what I tell people all the time is when you start something, just because you're not getting the results that you want right away, doesn't mean that you can slack. No matter what, if you put out a weekly show that you're doing and it's on YouTube, and you're like, man, I only got 18 viewers, I'm not doing this anymore. You can't do that. You have to make sure those 18 people, when they tune in next week, are still gonna see that show, and that your platform continues to grow, and that you're always out there promoting, and you have to stay humble and not think that anybody owes you anything.
I'm beyond doing what I do. I always say, look, this industry is so crazy, right? You could have a job one day, you could not have a job one day. Like, it's so volatile and crazy, and you see publishing is changing rapidly anyway. Magazines are folding, going online, some online platforms are going away. It's insane, and so to keep myself like somewhat together, like I have to also know that like I'm good.
Shoot Beyonce for votes. Wow. Just walking favor. Just blessings. I love it. And so it's Beyonce.
Yeah, we want you to do the cover of Vogue. And I remember sitting there on the phone and being like, okay, what more do you have to say about this? Like, who are we shooting? What's going on? Like, what's the thing? And I remember them saying, we want you to do Beyonce. We want you to do Beyonce for the cover, and you're going to be the first African American to shoot the cover. So I kind of immediately, I seriously said over the phone with the creative director of the magazine, I said, am I being caught?
Yes.
And when is the date that we're shooting?
Right.
My first two.
Right, first two.
Just to try and
really reveal her real beauty. Like, it was very much not a lot of makeup. It was about the beauty of the environment and just having Beyonce almost like just sit there as the main centerpiece. But it was a very calm, I feel like, shoot. Is that what you wanted to bring out of it? What did you want?
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't see a lot of pictures of Black people at peace.
Come on, that's the word.
So that was the first goal. I think, yes, that was from her. She wanted to be undone. She wanted to be little to no makeup. She wanted to be, natural hair, and she wanted to be kind of more, depicted in a different light. Like, I think when you think of a Vogue cover, that's not immediately where your mind goes to.
Right.
What's happening, CultureCon? What's going on?
Word.
I'm gonna say it one more time for y'all. It's stressful being Black in this country, right? Like South Carolina, whether it's Alton Sterling, whether it's brother down the street killed by the police in the chokehold, Eric Garner. It's countless names, right? So you say something that I thought was really interesting in the book, Shar. I'm gonna wrap this section with this notion. We know those names, and we've seen these people lose their life in front of our own eyes. We bore witness to their death, right? Because of the viral videos. Now, in some capacity, there's value in that, right? For the skeptics that want to say that we're making this up, right? That this is all in our head. The videos can be valuable in the sense that they prove this ain't fake, it's not made up, it's not pure paranoia, this is really happening. But then you say, I pray these images lead to real change, but in the meantime, they're creating real damage.
Yeah.
So Shar, I want to ask you, do you think the distribution of these viral videos showing these young Black men and women being killed at the hands of law enforcement, are they worth it? Are the videos worth it?
I don't know, man. I believe in social engineering, and I believe that those videos do more harm been good, at least to your mental state. And you know, I can't say that they're helping because those videos aren't helping change anything. It's like we're raising awareness for it, where it's finally we can tell white people, see, this is what we've been talking about this whole time. But that doesn't stop in a court of law. It's not like these police officers are being charged for these crimes.
You might even curse the officer out. Me, I got my hand on the steering wheel, and I'm not doing nothing until they tell me what to do, you know? And then when they ask me for my license and registration, I have to ask them, is it really okay if I reach for my license and my registration? That's just a different type of stress. Or it could be something as simple as, you know, being with your family at Disney World, and you on the line for Despicable Me, and they have the camera scan the crowd, and the camera will stop right on the section with you and your family, and then you hear a minion say, does it smell in here? Does it smell right here? And you're thinking to yourself, damn, are they doing this because we black? Right. So it's just always like that that underlying thing of, is this just a matter of circumstance, or is this a matter of me being treated differently because of my skin color?
To the stores as a kid and see the dark and lovely boxes and like, that ain't never gonna be me. My hair, I don't care how much perm and straighten is never gonna look like that. And that was just that. So to be here now and be the face of dark and lovely or any of these things, they're like, these are the things that our kids need to see. Like when my kids are in the house, they walk around, they see pictures of me and my husband at our wedding. My son and my daughter, they aspire to want to be married one day. They see, you know, that it's okay for me to do songs like when I could have put out any record that I wanted to. I put out Melanin Magic because that's how I felt in my heart. I felt like we needed that. Women needed to see all women that was all different shades, dressing all brown, bathed in chocolate, things like that. Those are the things that mattered to me that 10 years ago, I didn't care. I was running around smoking weed, doing whatever, like, because that's what I thought was cool. Like when you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, that's not cool. Like there's no, I'm the first person to be like, girl, your hair look nice. I like them shoes. Where you get that bag from? Oh, that lipstick, what's the name of it? I'm gonna have it next week. So when you see me, don't say I stole it for you. I'm telling you that I'm stealing it. Like I don't have a problem doing that. It's like, and it's mostly women of color. Like we just like we taught to grow up to hate each other, to be against each other. Like, oh, if it's one of us, it can only be one key black girl in the room. Like, no, that's not the case at all. That's how they program us to think. And any chance that I get to spread that, not just in rap, not just in media or whatever your job field is, like, it's always going to be strength in numbers.
What would you tell your younger self, knowing what you
don't
know
buy a Range Rover.
Don't buy
And then to this day, I'm a fiend for cars, and I think because we come from a culture of not having, when we can have, and you know what I mean, we like to show off our possessions. Right. You know what I mean? Like if we could pull the house up to the club, we would buy a bunch of houses.
Executive level, holding a seat at the table.
Right. I see it as a privilege and a responsibility now more than ever. I feel like, you know, a few years back, you didn't really have to have substance.
Right.
It was really about having as much fun as you wanted to. The checks was coming in, and you know, it was a time where we were celebrating one another and we were doing many different things. But right now, society is in such a turmoil that you have to take responsibility for everything that you put out there. But when I try to shift the conversation, then it's like, oh yeah, that's good. We know you do that. You've been doing that. But tell us more about who you dating. Tell us more about this, and which I understand because entertainment is entertainment. We always want to have a good time, but we got to make sure that we give as much focus to building our culture as we do to building entertainment.
All right. Give this man a round of applause. I got a couple of questions. I'm gonna sort of lighten it up a little bit. You just got off the road with Wildin' Out. It's been around for 14 years. Wildin' Out. Why that show is important to the culture?
It is the culture. I mean, ultimately, I always tell people I started that show in the early 2000s just to give my friends jobs. and it's still working. Yeah, and it was, you know, a lot of cats, we was hustling together that they wasn't household names. It was guys like, you know, D. Ray Davis, Afion Crockett, Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, all of these people that we, you know, love now, and they beefing with each other, and got millions of dollars in private planes and all of that stuff. But to know that this was a platform I was able to build, and even for generation after generation, again, I talk about people like DC Young Fly, King Batch, Just Hilarious, all these people that have graced the stages of Wildin' Out. And by no means do I ever want to take credit for their gifts and for their success, but I know I was able to build a platform to allow them to shine.
We've been able to turn this platform into something that's meaningful for us because it was built for us. CultureCon is the exact same thing. We thought, what if we created a conference that was for us and by us? And that's what CultureCon was born.
Find me a Kendall Jenner, I be a gentleman to her. Catch up. Give me a Jordan, and she never gon' finish a nigga. Oh yeah. Walk by on fire, baby, can't down it. That body banging, what's that? You should model.